Hey everyone, welcome to The Zest, the official podcast of Orange Coast Magazine. I'm Chelsea Ranieri, and today's guest is the co-founder of Urban Decay and caliray, which is a clean makeup brand that focuses on sustainability and has been featured in Elle, Allure, Glamour, Cosmopolitan, and more. It is also one of 3 clean and planet-aware makeup brands at Sephora. Thank you so much for being here today, Wende Zomnir.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm so excited to get to talk with you. Urban Decay was like the first makeup brand I fell in love with.
I know
So
I made your makeup drawer, didn't I? Yeah,
literally, you did. I had
I
that
did. Yeah.
big mascara wand with like the colorful tube from Urban Decay back
Oh
in the day.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that one was
you
called Big Fatty. We were really into like drug references, and even though I
I'm like
never did
13.
drugs, I was living vicariously through my products. So
Yeah. I love that. Well, to start at the very beginning of your story, you grew up in Texas. When did you kind of first find yourself drawn to the world of makeup? I feel like Texas is like a very popular spot for makeup.
well, I got sent home from school in 8th grade for wearing too much makeup. So
No way.
the addiction starts early. Like I say,
Mm.
you're born there, you're born with it in your veins. And even though I was kind of a sporty girl, I still really loved makeup. I do remember my mom giving me one of those big like makeup kits for Christmas one year, and it kind of maybe is the best gift I ever got, in
Wow.
my whole life. Like there's been a lot of great gifts, but that might be the one that sort of set me on a path to self-expression through makeup. And that was really the ethos behind Urban Decay. And you may not remember this, but before the sort of mid 90s, late 90s, when we started Urban, makeup was all about like you were aspiring to look like the model in the picture. And
Yeah.
usually she was a very specific type of woman. She was usually blonde, very thin, very fair, very even featured. She usually was blue eyes. And that's great if you fit that mold. But if you didn't fit that mold, you felt like you were buying a product to try to look more like her instead of
Mhm.
buying a product to express yourself in your own individuality. And so I think my mom buying me that makeup kit, makeup really became about self-expression for me, and whether I wore a lot or a little. And I really wanted to bring that kind of vibe to everyone else when I felt like makeup was a little bit more about keeping you down than lifting you up.
Yeah, totally. I do remember getting like a how to do your makeup, whatever, back in like the 90s. And it was yeah, very minimal, very much like trying to aspire to look like those girls. It was hard.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I read that you went to high school in Belgium, which sounds like such an incredible experience. How did that come about?
So my dad worked for a defense contractor in Fort
Oh,
Worth,
whoa.
Texas, and he was kind of moved over to an office that they had in Europe that was servicing, NATO countries that bought F-16s from the United States. So that's what he was doing over there, and as a result, I got to go to school over there, which was a great experience for me. It really opened up my world. Um, I mean, Texas is a great state, but I was definitely living in sort of a narrower point of view. And this is a really like global point of view when you go live in a country that's, you know, basically the base of NATO. You have a lot of different influences. And so it was really
Yeah.
cool. I think I had 26 different nationalities at my school.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Did you get to travel a lot while you were there?
We did travel a lot. I played basketball. And so every weekend you were on the road to a school in Germany or a school in France or a school in Holland or a school in Luxembourg or wherever to play basketball. So we'd load on a bus and we'd go. It was like road games, It was really fun.
So cool. Well, to
Yeah.
fast forward a bit, can you talk about how you met Urban Decay's co-founder, Sandy Lerner?
So that is one of those serendipitous moments. And I always say, there's that whole phrase like when luck and opportunity meet.
Mhm.
And this was really it. I had really prepared myself. Just I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. And I had moved out to California. I was working at an ad agency doing marketing campaigns. And one of my best friends from Chicago, which was my first job out of college, um, had been engaged to Sandy Lerner's, finance guy.
Oh,
And
no.
Yeah, and Sandy was talking about like, "Oh, I'm thinking about starting this crazy makeup company." And she was talking to her ex-fiance and she's like, "Well, you should call my friend Wendy. She'd be perfect." And so that like little like snippet of a referral started this whole chain that led me into an industry that like was in my blood. I was really meant to do that. But back in the 90s, like people think about Sephora and all the indie brands and like people just, oh, I'm going to start a beauty brand like that. It's normal. Like if you have a
Mhm.
vision and an idea, you can do that. It wasn't like that back then. Like it was really kind of crazy to think like it was all just Estee Lauder, Lancome, Clinique. It was all of these big, huge legacy brands. And there weren't a lot of indie brands. There wasn't even Sephora to go into, if you can imagine.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and premium beauty, prestige beauty was not the Technicolor dream it is today. So kind of deciding to do that, like that's as someone who had like kind of this desire to be an entrepreneur, I was like kind of like, well, how am I going to do that? Like, what am I going to get into? And beauty was a passion for me. I loved doing my makeup. I always did my friends' makeup, but it wasn't something you thought you could just get into. But
Hmm.
I really valued that like connection with Sandy because Sandy had, I mean, if you think about what she did before, she co-founded Cisco Systems, which was a tech company. It
Oh, wow.
probably at one point provided 80% of the connections on the internet, early internet days. So I mean, you can kind of say like she invented the internet because
Oh
without
my
the Cisco
God.
router, we wouldn't be able to be having this conversation right now.
Right.
Right?
Wow.
Because you could only have local area networks, you couldn't network networks. So she figured out how to network networks.
Oh, wow. So super
She
intelligent.
broke a mold, right? And so she's like, "Well, Wendy, I broke tech. Let's go break beauty." And it really was so key to me to have a super empowered, smart woman sort of guiding me along this path and saying, "Let's do this together. Let me show you the way." And so it's kind of one of my missions in life to then, when people ask me for advice, try to give back to them too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like, it was breaking beauty. Like, I, through all my research, read it just Urban Decay revolutionized the beauty industry over and over and over again. I kept reading that. What set it apart from other beauty brands at the time? Like when you guys finally launched with your 10 lipsticks and 12 nail polishes?
Well, it was really what we talked about at the beginning, which was, most beauty had been about conforming,
Hmm.
and Urban Decay was really about self-expression. The other thing was most beauty brands had been very um super like pink and girly, and ours was more like we were from the beginning, we were makeup for both men and women. Like, we
Love
don't care
that.
what sex you are. We encouraged people to like paint their nails. I remember we would go to these like trade shows, early days, and I would get the Teamsters who would set up your booth and I would paint their nails, and I would get guys to paint their nails. And I was kind of on a just trajectory to like get men to wear nail polish. And as you can see, that was like guys wear makeup now. Like not every
Yeah,
guy, but a lot of men wear makeup. So I feel like a little bit mission accomplished there.
definitely. How did you guys? I feel like it'd be so hard to narrow down what you wanted to launch with. How did you guys eventually pick which items to go with?
Well, I think we picked nail polish and lipstick. They just seemed obvious to us at the beginning.
Mm.
Um, we wanted to do like kind of dark cookie colored nail polish, and that was kind of just starting to become a thing. Like Chanel was launching Vamp at the time. It was just sort of in the air, that sort of, it was like that moment of grunge that was happening. Like I was listening to Nirvana and like Soundgarden, and it just was like a moment to have like these dark, different colored nail polish. Because before that, nail polish had really been, and most makeup, like if you think about lipstick, had been pink, beige, and red. And that was it. And so we were like, let's bust out and do something really different. And then lipstick just felt right. And we had found this like cool vintage component that we could finish in a certain way and make it really uniquely ours. So we decided to, do lipstick as well. And I remember at the John Wayne Airport, I remember showing up with like this bluey lipstick on. It was like a sheer blue and it had a like lavender flash to it. And I remember
Ooh.
walking up to check in my bag, and this is when they had sky caps, right? The guys that would check your bag at the curb. And I'm going to New York, and he's like, he goes, honey, what is on your lips? And I looked at him and I go, it's Urban Decay. And he goes, well, it's not Mary Kay, that's for sure. And so I just thought that was super fun. He was like so nice. He was being so nice about it. But I just remember thinking, oh, we've really, like, I'm really doing something different here with beauty. Like even the sky cap is noticing it's different.
Yeah, totally. And then I also didn't realize that you were living in Laguna Beach when you founded Urban Decay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
On,
so
on,
cool.
on Cliff Drive in a little like, apartment with my boyfriend and yeah, mixing up
Oh
nail
my God.
polish and
Yeah.
selling it to Nordstrom. That's what I was doing.
I love that we can claim Orange County can claim ownership over Urban Decay.
Oh,
That's so
it's
cool.
yes, Orange County can claim ownership. It's
Yeah.
been the home base for Urban Decay for years until L'Oreal moved it up to LA, I think in 2021.
Oh, wow. So a
So
long time.
a long time it was an Orange County founded, run business.
Yeah, love that. Well, I also learned that I loved the way that you were trying to get the word out about Urban Decay, and I read a story about how you approached Gwen Stefani with the makeup. Can you share that
Yes.
story?
Well, I wanted to reach out to Gwen, and there was another female singer at the time, Shirley Manson, in a band called Garbage. And so I was like frantically trying to track all of them down. I did eventually track down Gwen and got to spend some time with her and show her the makeup and get her excited about it. But it wasn't until almost 20 years later
Oh,
that we were able to do a collab together. And that was
yeah.
really such a dream come true for me because not only is she a great person to have as a spokesperson for Urban Decay, she loves makeup. Like she's obsessed with makeup too. So we were literally like digging through her box of makeup and she came downstairs at her house, like when I met with her the first time. And I was like, go get your makeup. And she came down with a shoebox, which I just have to say, like, here is this A-list celebrity. She's so cool and she's so real. She keeps her favorite makeup in a shoebox.
Yeah.
Um, and she has such great design taste. So like it was really fun to design the components with her. And then on top of that, she could not be a nicer person.
Oh, I love that. That makes
So
me
and
happy.
just really a dream to work with. And then her makeup artist who worked with us as well on some of the looks, just a lovely person. Um, so anyway, it was a dream come true for me. This person I had like admired and met. I remember seeing her on MTV, like going, that girl would be perfect for Urban Decay. And it took so long to get her on the team, but when we finally did, it was great.
Yeah, God, like before social media, like you couldn't just reach out to
No, I
influencers.
had to
Yeah.
before social media, you couldn't just reach out. I mean, I got Shirley Manson to wear it at the K Rock Weenie Roast.
Oh, wow.
And I literally had read in a magazine, like Spin magazine, that she was going to be recording with the band in Minneapolis. So I went to the Newport Beach Library and I got a Minneapolis phone book. Like, because this is back in the 90s. There's no, like, the internet's kind of not that stocked with information at this point.
Yeah.
Um, and there weren't even browsers, I'm not sure at this point, or good browsers. So I go to the Newport Beach Library. I get a Minneapolis phone book. I go to the yellow pages. I find, do you even know what those are?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Okay. And I look up all of the studios and I start calling them until I track down Shirley and get her on the phone. And then I sent her nail polish and she wore it at the Weenie Roast, which was like really exciting for me.
That's
So
so
that's how you had
cool.
to do things back in the day. Just it was a lot of hustle.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a lot of hustle. Well, I also loved learning kind of about the more iconic eyeshadows that you had, like Midnight Cowboy. I love the names too. How did you come up with these names?
So Midnight Cowboy is like it's a, movie reference.
Mhm.
Um and it's a little naughty. And so we would just like everything's an Easter egg, at Urban.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of the names are little Easter eggs. Some of them aren't, but a lot of them are. And so um I think that name came about because we wanted something that was sounded edgy and fun and was a little bit of an Easter eggy name. And it was basically a beige eyeshadow that we infused with glitter. And nobody had really had a glitter
Oh,
shadow before. So that's kind of how it came about, was like, how can we create a name that sort of amplifies the story we're telling with this shadow?
yeah. God, I remember being obsessed with sparkly shadows, so I for sure had that, but I definitely had the naked palette. And that was like, I remember it would sell out immediately. Like the Ulta that was
Yeah.
by our house, we would just run to it the second we found out it was restocked. What about this palette? Just how did you come up with this idea?
It's so funny you mentioned that because I was up at Makeup LA yesterday, which is the makeup trade show. It's so fun to go to because you just run into so many great people there from the past. And so I actually ran into both the women I created the makeup naked
No
palette with.
way.
And I had this great team of product developers, really passionate makeup gals. And I had been traveling a lot for work. And so I was the Urban Decay gal. So I was
Yeah.
always like matching, like if I was wearing green, I was wearing green eyeshadow. If I was wearing purple, I was wearing purple eyeshadow. I was like always trying to like live my brand.
Yeah.
But to do an eye like that, you still need a nice neutral base, right? So I was like packing all the time and like which neutrals should I bring? And I realized like what I need is a nice little quad of like 4 perfect nude shades that I can just throw in my bag and then throw all the colors I need in with it. And so I went to them and I said, "Hey, what would be your 4 perfect shades if you were stuck on a desert island? Like, what would be your perfect nude shades?" And so, Amy brought in her 4, Brooke brought in her 4, and I brought in my 4. And we laid them out and we were like, "Oh my God, this is a pretty good palette." We had one dupe. And I remember I told Brooke this last night. I said, and you pulled that out and you're like, "We need this like matte, fawny, buff shade to fill this thing out." And I'm like, "Yes." So we built that shade, put it in there, and that was the palette. Like that is literally how the palette was created.
Wow.
And we kind of were deciding like, should we make this like a fun promotional item that's just available for a limited time, or should we make this a permanent item in the collection? And we decided to pull the trigger and make it a permanent item. And that made all the difference because we had built the stock. Otherwise we would
Mhm.
have run out. I mean, it was
Yeah.
always selling out, but it was just a difference between how we were going to think about it.
Yeah. It's
So it was
crazy. Did you
I always
expect
call it the
it?
desert island palette because it was like, if you were stuck on a desert island, what would you bring?
Yeah, I love that. Did you expect it to sell out so quickly like that?
I didn't expect it to sell out. I mean, I thought I was making a 4, like a quad, like 4 shadows. I thought we'd pick the best 4 of the 12.
Mhm.
And so I didn't even go in it thinking it was gonna be a 12-pan palette. I went
Yeah.
in thinking it was gonna be 4, it turns into 12, and then no, I had no idea I was gonna sell out. But I do think
Wow.
that having the perspective of 4 different eyeballs of like, what are the perfect range of neutrals
Yeah.
really made it what it is. Because it wasn't
Yeah.
just one point of view, it wasn't a committee, it wasn't designed by committee, but it was like a tight group of makeup experts that all had a point of view.
Yeah, I love that, and it's so iconic to this day. Well, to fast forward a bit again, you founded caliray in October 2021. So what motivated you to create this brand?
So, Urban Decay was very mission driven.
Mhm.
Like I said, it was all about, making makeup about self-expression, about showing the world who you are and not about aspiration. So it was democratizing beauty. And I think what made Urban Decay such a fun place to work and made people so passionate about it is it was mission driven. So to me, I wasn't going to just go do another beauty brand. I wanted to do one that had a mission.
Mhm.
And I was surfing with my family in the Maldives. We were surfing this break off a deserted island,
So cool.
literally a deserted island. And, I have boys, they surf a lot longer than me. I was tired. I'm like, I'm just going to paddle in and sit on the beach for a bit. I park my board and I look at the island, which is deserted, except that it is filled on the interior of the island with plastic trash.
Oh,
And it really hit me like there's probably a lot of naked palettes in the landfill, and beauty is not a sustainable industry. So, what can I do in this industry to help improve that? At the same time, I've always been really into wellness. Like, you know, I'm into like really organic food. I shop at Fermentation Farm, which my friend
love.
Yasmin started. If you haven't interviewed her, you should. She's
I know I
amazing.
need to.
Yeah, you should. She's really great. She started it when our kids were in second grade at the Waldorf school. Um,
Aw.
I'm really into fitness, nutrition, supplementation. I had both my kids on the floor of my house with a midwife. Like I'm kind of a I'm kind of a weird secret hippie. And so I wanted something that would combine beauty and wellness, and then tap into the new technology around the sustainability space, so that we could create products that are compostable, recyclable, using recycled materials like glass, which is easily recyclable. So really trying to bring makeup into more of a sustainable format. So that's really why I decided to start caliray, because I felt like there's a space for makeup to be more in this wellness category, and there's also a space for it to be more sustainable.
Yeah, and the fact that it's like one of the 3 planet what was it called? Clean and Planet
Planet
Aware?
Aware at Sephora. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. There and the fact that there's only 3.
There's only 3 makeup. It's really hard to do makeup. It's much easier to do hair care or skin care in a sustainable way,
Oh,
because most of our curbside recycling, including here in Orange County, is if you throw something in your recycle bin, it really needs to be the size of a yogurt cup or larger, because there are screens at the municipal recycling facilities that are about this big, and anything smaller than that is going to flow through the screen and just go into the landfill.
oh,
So,
what?
yeah, that's why. So if you throw a shampoo bottle in there, it will get recycled, but your mascara tube probably won't. So it's really
Right.
important that you either use a recycled material, so that product that's going to end up in the landfill has had a life before, or we are trying to educate people. There are packed bins at Sephora. People can go into Sephora and drop off their beauty empties and recycle those there, because it's specialty recycling for tiny things. So
Got it.
that's one, those are just the different things we're trying to do with
Yeah.
sustainability, is either use undecorated glass. So if your glass is overly decorated, it can't be recycled.
Oh.
It has to be sort of a minimal decoration. Use post-consumer recycled resins and plastics. We have even made pallets out of bamboo, which I have composted and planted new plants in.
Wow.
Aluminum, there's all kinds of ways to lower your impact. So, baby steps for now, but I've been experimenting with carbon sequestration. So next year we have a top selling primer in a nice, pretty blue tube. And we now are, and that tube is made out of a bioplastic. So it's made out of sugarcane resin instead of petroleum resin. And we're now infusing carbon that we suck out of the air. So pull carbon that's stuck in the air, we pull it down, we infuse it into that polymer, and then we capture the carbon in the polymer. So it can either be recycled again very easily, or if it does end up in the landfill, you've got that carbon trapped in there. So at least your trash is doing a service and holding the carbon inside.
Wow, I had no idea that that technology even existed. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
There's some pretty cool technology happening right here in Orange County, actually. Um, there's some guys in Huntington Beach that are basically making recycled air straws, forks, all kinds of cool stuff. And we're working with them to see if we can maybe, make our mascara tube out of that kind of stuff. And what they're making is really incredible. If you drop it in the ocean or in a fish tank, you can see the microorganisms. It's not a microplastic, but the microorganisms can go ahead and just do away with it. They eat it up. It's not a microplastic that's going to end up in the food chain, but it's really pretty cool.
That's so cool. Well, speaking of the mascara, you launched with Come Hell or High Water mascara, and then it's a tubing mascara, which
It's a tubing mascara, yes.
I just learned what that means. How is it like? What is that, and how is it different from regular
Okay,
mascara?
so clearly, I mentioned I'm a surfer, I'm a snowboarder, I'm very Orange County girl, and I don't like my makeup to be running down my face. Also, as
Yes.
you become a lady of a certain age, you tend to get more smudgy under your eyes. So I was thinking, I'm going to make a clean, waterproof mascara that's going to change everyone's life. The problem is, you can make a clean, waterproof mascara, but it's still very, very hard on your lashes. So if you wear it every day, you're going to see like some loss of lash and just not great lash health. So
Oh,
I wanted to create a mascara that would give you that same level of performance, but be really good for your lashes, really nourish them. So the answer was tubing. So tubing is a little bit different. Like a regular basic mascara, if you got caught in the rain we've got going on today,
mhm.
if you jumped in the ocean, if you cried, if you worked out heavy at the gym, you'd have raccoon eyes.
Yeah.
This mascara, it basically doesn't come off unless you use warm water. Cold water will not take it off because it forms little tubes around your lash. So what you have to do is weaken the bonds in the tubes and then they slide off with warm water. So
What?
I have a giant shower here at the caliray house, an outdoor shower, and I have been hit in the face with that shower wearing the tubing mascara. It does not come off. I can go surfing and have one eye tubing, one eye not, and it's very clear when I get out of the water which one is which. So the tubing mascara won't run during your gym workouts. It's really incredible. If you get in a hot tub, it will come off, but it won't give you the raccoon eyes. It just rolls off. You'll have like some little specks on your face, but you won't have a full raccoon panda eye situation. So to me, tubing is incredible. The reason that technology has not been as promoted in the past in the beauty space is because it really doesn't provide volume. So that's what I was able to do with this mascara was
Oh.
get into it and create a formula with a brush that gives you real volume to go alongside the benefits and the lengthening of tubing. So it's a really different mascara because of that. And that's why I called it Come Hell or High Water. And actually, since this is an Orange County podcast, everyone here will
Yeah.
appreciate this. I don't get to tell this story. But the reason I came up with the name was I was standing in line at Bear Flag getting a salad. And they used to have, before they had the merch wall, this is the Newport location. Before they had the
Mhm.
merch wall, they had a wall of like a gallery wall of all these like cool old surf pictures. And they had one, and it was for I think a movie, and it was called Come Hell or High Water. And I was like, that's a great mascara name. I'm going to name my mascara that. And there it
That's
was,
so
Bear Flag
cool.
inspiration. So I'll
I
probably,
love
everyone
that
listening
so
to
much.
this has had a Bear Flag taco at some point. So you can
Yes,
appreciate,
definitely.
inspiration comes from everywhere.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, you're doing the Lord's work making this like tubing mascara that's also giving volume. I cannot wait to try this out. That sounds incredible. And also, it's nice because like after the jacuzzi, when you come out, like even if you try to wipe it, I feel like the mascara will like stick on your cheeks.
Oh yeah,
This sounds
it's
nice
gonna
because it just like
stick.
comes
Yeah.
right off.
No,
God,
it
it's so nice.
rolls right off. So even if it does,
Wow.
even if it slides off your lashes and you don't have mascara on anymore, you just kind of brush it away and it's gone.
Oh my God, that sounds incredible.
So
Well,
if you're
tell me a
having a
little bit
hot
about
tub moment with your hottie, they're not going to look bad.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really
right.
important.
It is. And also I don't even like make an effort to wear mascara to my classes because I'm like, it's just gonna look like shit anyways.
No,
But
it's
being
not.
able to wear it is so great.
Yeah. And it's nice because the other thing about it is it's so buildable. So if you want to just go to the gym and be a little more like,
Yeah.
popped, you could just put on a light coat and it won't look like, oh my God, she's wearing mascara to the gym. Or you could do what I do. And basically I put on a coat, and then I like take a breath, and then I put on another coat, and it's going to give you like almost double the volume with that second
Oh,
coat. So it's
wow.
really like the buildability is pretty significant. And once it dries, it kind of, holds your lash up. So if you're a person that likes to curl, it's going to hold the curl.
Yes.
So
Ooh, that's nice because yeah, my curl doesn't last throughout the day.
yeah, no, it'll
Um,
last. The only thing it doesn't do is it's not buildable once it's completely dry.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
I've made mascaras before where like the benefit was like, okay, you're done working at the end of the day. You can put on more because it's kind of a soft formula, but that's a soft wax formula that's going to run. So, this is just a little bit different. So you got to kind of choose your volume at the beginning of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, right. Well, tell me a bit about the, Endless Sunset palette.
So I love that palette because it really is a true sustainability
Ooh.
wonder. We made it out of bamboo, and we put aluminum pans in it, which are all replaceable, and you can, order replacement pans. So if you're like me and you hit pan on a shade before the rest of the palette's done, you can
Mhm.
always be replacing that shade that you hit pan on versus having to, throw the
Buy a
whole
whole one.
palette out or not have it be complete.
Yeah.
So I really love it because you can recycle the aluminum pans. I take the bamboo, you can throw it in your basic composter, curbside composter, but I have a Lomi here at the caliray house, which is one of those composting, like you turn it on at night and it makes dirt out of your
Oh,
trash.
whoa.
So I basically go and I like just crack it with a hammer, wearing goggles, of course, for safety. And then I'll put it in there with a bunch of kitchen scraps and I'll have dirt I will turn my palette into dirt at the end of the day.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know you
Yes,
could
it's
do that.
pretty cool. It's really probably the most recyclable thing we make. And the shadows are talc free, which is so important, not to be
Yes.
getting talc in your on your face. And so it's a pretty cool product.
I recently learned about talc via TikTok, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't realize, like, it's literally in every makeup almost, it seems, except for
It's in a
yours.
lot of things, and in and of itself, it's not so terrible, but the problem is that it's mined alongside asbestos. So,
Oh,
that's really the wellness problem with talc.
yeah. Oh, that's so nice you
That's
don't
a
have to
nice
worry
thought.
about it with your, eyeshadow.
Yeah.
Well, tell me also about the Surf Proof Easy Glider Eye Definer Waterproof Pencil.
So I can talk about the surf proof. It's a pencil. I would rather talk about
Mhm.
the surf proof setting spray. So those are
Oh,
all
yes,
my surf proof things.
please.
Yeah. So I just got clinical results back on that. I launched it. I knew it was a great formula, but I went and had it tested. And we got, if you just, this is the nicest, lightest setting spray. It smells like vacation.
Ooh.
And you just put it on after you do your makeup. I sometimes even do it before. You can use it during the day to refresh. It's got seawater minerals. It's got niacinamide to help with redness and pore size. It's got transdermal magnesium to help with skin recovery. And it sets your makeup and helps it last all day. So I think we got 24-hour wear on this product, sweat proof,
Oh,
waterproof. And in our consumer perception study, 100% of the participants loved this product and felt like
wow.
it helped their makeup last, felt like it felt amazing on the skin, never felt tight, dry, or sticky. So this Surf Proof setting spray is really an incredible product. And I invented setting spray in the industry. So I launched the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray back in the day, which had been the number one setting spray for a really long time. And so I went back to the same team that helped me develop that and said, let's make this clean. Let's put a better sprayer on it. Let's add some skincare benefits. And so this is an upgraded version of the setting spray that I introduced the world to back in, I think it was in 2012 or something.
Yeah, I've used that setting spray and it's
Yeah,
incredible. So I'm so excited to try this one.
this
The
one's great.
pore size sounds so nice.
Yeah, well, that's what niacinamide does. You can find it in a lot of things, and it does help
Oh,
with redness and pore size. Yeah,
that's incredible. Oh my gosh. Well, it sounds so amazing. I cannot wait to try all these products.
yeah.
But is there anything that you want to give another shout out for listeners to keep an eye out for in caliray or
The
in
thing I would
your
tell you is we just launched two new shades of our Hideaway product, and Hideaway
Ooh.
is really incredible. So I watch, just like you, watching the TikTok videos,
Yep.
and all of the makeup artists, influencers are doing concealer under their eyes to create a bright, lifted look.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have fine lines, and all that
Literally, yeah.
makeup's going to get into my fine lines. Also, I don't like to look cakey under my eyes. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I want to invent a product that is going to like bright and lift and illuminate, and you're not going to see the makeup. So we created a product called Hideaway. It is part color corrector, part concealer, part illuminator. I use functionalized pearls that brighten and illuminate without looking shimmery. So you don't see shimmer, you just see bright light eyes. And the product is like a eye serum. So it's got 3 different kinds of hyaluronic acid in it. So it's really
What?
like hydrating and good for your under eye. You'll never see the makeup. I'll get really close.
Your makeup looks gorgeous.
And it's just a really incredible product. You just tap it in. I use a couple of shades. I use Warm Sun Glow. I'm kind of olive colored. That would probably be your shade too. I
Oh,
also
perfect.
use the lightest shade Dawn, which is, I use it as a highlighter. So it's a pale pink, but it's so lightweight and translucent on the skin that I can use the very lightest shade. And I use it here for highlighting, tip of my nose, because I don't like that frosty tip when you use regular highlighter.
Yeah.
Here and here to get that brightened, lifted, clean girl look. And I would tell you, to me, Hideaway is like one of the most magic products I've ever made. Everyone
Oh my
loves it.
gosh. I'm so
I'll
excited for
send
that.
you
Yeah,
some.
oh my god, please. I would be
Yeah.
honored. My girlfriends and I were just talking about that when we put the makeup here, 'cause we're in our 30s now, it does get into the lines and it looks I hate that feeling, that look of it. So very excited for this.
Well, it's really exciting. So, like I said, we launched two new. We had launched with 8 shades last year. People were demanding a couple of other shades, so we put those out there and launched it. And it was actually our number one product last week at
Wow. Oh my
Sephora.
God.
So it's really kind of taken off because it's so magical.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm so excited to
I
try
always
that
like to
too.
say
Well,
it's like color corrector, concealer, and illuminator had a three-way.
yeah.
There you have it.
I love that. I also love the copy on your website. Everything's so cheeky and like cute.
Oh, thanks.
It's so
Well,
fun.
life's too short to be all serious about everything. It's just makeup.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we are coming to the end of our time. But before I let you go, I have three final questions for you that we call the
Okay.
thoughtful three. So first, I watched a clip where you spoke about finding balance in life and how this idea of balance is kind of elusive. So what does balance look like for you?
So balance isn't, it's not that it's elusive, it's a dynamic state.
Yes.
So it's not a state you find and stay in. It's going to always be shifting and moving. And so for me, it's all about staying on my toes and finding like every day trying to find the balance between some days you're going to like work at your desk harder and have less time with your family, but then you make that up. And so it's never going to be this static state of like, 30, 30, 30, 10 of I'm going to slice
Right.
and dice my day. Some days it's going to be 20, 40, and you just have to be really like the balance is being able to flow with that and not getting sucked into one area or another too much. So that's
Yeah.
what I really try to focus on is like, where am I feeling balanced? And when you start to feel out of balance, how do you course correct, right? How do you stay dynamic and course correct and get back to balance? So,
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And then if you could bring back
or
any trends.
sorry, but
Oh
I
yeah.
do always make sure that like good food, family
Mhm.
time, you know, good focused work time and workouts are in my day every day.
Yeah, some non-negotiables.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so obviously we know the 90s are making a big comeback right now. What are some trends that you would love to see come back from the 90s? Makeup trends.
Um, I mean, lots of like sparkles. I always
Yeah.
love a good sparkle. So I'd love to see that come back because we now have like bio glitters we can tap into. So I'm
Oh,
sort
whoa.
of like debating whether I should do like at Urban, I made this glitter eyeliner and I still have like old tubes of it and I'm obsessed with it. So I'd love to bring that back in a bio glitter kind of way so that it's a more sustainable approach.
Yeah, I still have one from so long ago, and every 4th of July, I whip it out. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Um, and then lastly, you've mentioned that makeup is a powerful form of self-expression during this conversation. So how does Cali Ray allow customers to kind of explore and celebrate their unique identities?
Well, I think we make a lot of basics. It's a little different than
Mm,
my Urban Decay. So it really is about helping you have great skin, helping you creating a beauty wellness balance so that those are
mhm.
crossing over. And then you're putting any kind of whatever color you love on top of that. So
Yeah.
I think the other thing is, look out for some things that are super Orange County focused, maybe some SPF things that are really unique textures. So that's kind of we're allowing people to like be in their wellness space, but also have great beauty products. So I would say it's
Yeah.
performance clean.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I had so much fun getting to talk to with you. It's been such an honor. But I'm looking forward to trying out all these new products and seeing what else Kelly Ray has in store.
I can't wait to see them on you.
Thank you.